Okay, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to Holosonic Podcast. We have our long-awaited, at least for me, episode on Tenet. It's been like a month, and it's finally out on home release, so now I can watch it a billion times. So, I'm Francis, also known as Holographic Studios, and with me I have...
Ben.
Yeah, Ben! And also...
and Karina!
Alright. So, okay. So we're gonna start with something simple. We are going to describe the movie in 3 words. We'll start with that. So, Karina, you already have 3 words planned out. So
Yes, I do.
Because you had this idea. So how about let's have you start. What are your 3 words?
So my 3 words, and if you want me to explain them later, I can. Would be Hufflepuff, weep, and domestic violence, but hyphenated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go through. Obviously, I can see the obvious Hufflepuff connections.
Yes.
With our multiple Harry Potter links in this movie. There's not just one. There's at least 2, and there might be 3. Any of you come up with something? I'm thinking of stuff. I take forever to think. I'm the guy trying to talk.
I'm sure there are better words. I'm sure there are better words to describe it, so...
I don't know, my favorite 3 words would be temporal pincer movement.
That
basically sums up how complicated it gets.
Yeah. That's fair.
I'm almost guaranteed if you watch this backwards, it could probably make some sense out of it.
100%. I think that we should watch it backwards.
But there's no option.
I'll just say my words are Tenet and Tenet, because you can do that forwards and backwards, so they're 2 words.
So that's 2.
That's 2. And, I'm not actually sure. Probably, Christopher Nolan, the man, the myth, the legend.
Hyphenated, of course.
All of it hyphenated.
Oh yeah, of course.
Or I could call it Chris Nolan, that's 2. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Perfect.
I'm not aiming to be the most hilarious here. I'm just trying to come up with something. Alright, okay, now we're gonna move into this part that I copied from another podcast, but it's awesome. Whoa, motorcycle sounds.
Yeah.
So now we're going to guess the IMDb summary. Okay, I'm looking at it now, and so it's a 1-sentence summary, and about 3 lines of like text. And so how about you each do yours, and I'll decide who got closer. You could be totally off. Let's do it with Karina. Let's have you go first.
All right. Again. Okay. I honestly might be really wrong about this, but
We'll see how many keywords you get in.
American agent has to do physics stuff to prevent World War III from happening because of future inversion stuff. That was really bad, but definitely.
Okay.
I think I hit some keywords maybe.
We got some keywords. We got like inversion,
Yeah.
and we have World War III, and we have American agent.
Oh, did I wow, are you serious?
No, I'm just saying like keywords. No.
Oh, gotcha.
Let's do Ben. Ben, your turn.
Wait, so it's just a,
It's like a 1-sentence synopsis that I got from IMDb, and you're trying to guess it.
Okay,
Don't Google it.
Yeah, I'm not. Okay, dude, okay, so yeah, dude goes backwards and forwards in time, to prevent an angry Russian dude from destroying the world.
I'm pretty. Isn't he Ukrainian?
Or
He's
is he
Russian.
Ukrainian?
No, he's from
I thought he was-
Skalsk
no,
12 near Moscow. Or whatever.
No,
Yeah,
you're right. He's
Moscow's
Russian. My bad.
awful.
My bad, guys.
Okay,
He's
so
Yeah, that's
I don't
pretty off.
actually know who to give this point to, because they're
I get
both
anything
different, but they're both wrong. Okay, this is
Well.
what it actually is. Armed with only one word, Tenet, and fighting for the survival of the entire world. A protagonist journeys through a twilight world of international espionage on a mission that will unfold in something beyond real time.
Well, I got
Is that
world.
you got world? You got
got world.
world. Ben, what did you
I
say?
got time.
You got time. Let's give a half and half. So you
All
were
right.
both winners and losers.
Thank you.
Is this accurate? I mean, it's close.
Yeah.
Because there
I
are
mean, they
some
do use-
IMDb summaries that are just so way off. But
They definitely use the word protagonist like a lot in the movie, so
that's the well, they do say
Yeah.
it. They say it a lot. They say it like
Yeah.
3 times. I'm the protagonist of this operation. You are a protagonist. So, and so they say it. I don't even know, probably 5
Yeah.
times. And the credit or the captions say it even more. Can we just talk about like, okay, when we first saw it, this was a theater experience, and like
Yeah.
it was, in a word, overwhelming. And the captions really did clear up things. Because this is my
Oh,
first time
God.
I actually
Yeah.
watched it with captions. Because I just
Yes.
mostly saw it in theaters like a dozen times. And so I didn't
Yeah.
have any captions. I was trying to catch everything. But,
No, and then the opera scene was just painful to
oh my
listen to.
Yeah.
gosh.
No, that cello did not deserve it. That whatever flutist, the person playing the flute didn't deserve it. Don't know why the conductor had to get shot.
He was the
it
first
was
one.
really upsetting. But also it was so loud in the theater. So I was just shocked the entire movie. I think my eyebrows were just furrowed the entire movie. Like my face hurt after because I was trying to focus on what they were saying, on what was going on like overstimulation of like what was going
So
on in
many
the
people
movie.
were like covering their ears because it was so loud.
Yeah,
So-
literally.
Yeah, felt like 11 walking out of that. I was like, oh gosh. I don't know if that's like, because I've been in IMAX like for other movies, and I don't think it ever gets that loud. Just like
Yeah.
a common criticism of this movie is they tend to like turn the volume up on everything else so loud so that the dialogue is actually almost drowned out. So people have a lot of, it's like the sound design, they don't like it. I mean,
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan's always like, yo, it's an experience. Yeah, but like,
I mean,
you need to
yes.
fix your sound.
Like, what's
So-
going on?
I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I'm not here to say whether the movie's bad. We're here to try and explain it.
No, it's definitely a
Wow.
good movie.
Keyword
No,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
no, it's just interesting.
It's interesting. I would definitely put it on my top half of Chris Nolan list. But also I'm absolutely biased because I personally find it wonderful. So, but like, I don't know, man. Inception is pretty great too. But I would like to distinguish favorite from best. I wouldn't, but I will say, people have said this is like his most pure like form. Like if you gave Christopher Nolan all of the power, this is exactly what he would do, and he wouldn't change a darn thing. And oh well, I mean, it feels very raw. Like there's not a lot of like other control going on. This is like his movie, and no
Yeah.
one really else tapped into that. But alrighty, let's dive in. Let's dive on in. That's an inside joke, viewers. So,
Yes.
and y'all, let's try and talk about the physics. Because we have here Ben, our wonderful physics
Yeah, I'm
man
taking a physics
who knows
class, so yeah.
who knows more than I will ever care to. But okay, so the explanation of how inversion works, spoiler alert, is it is reversing the entropy of an object, and by doing that, you're able to reverse the like time of something. So how does that compare to like the real physics?
Okay, so I mean,
Yeah,
it's
so like
definitely.
let's say what entropy is. Let's start with that. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I mean,
Yeah.
I have to be careful when defining this because,
Yeah.
um,
I mean, none of us
I
are
mean, okay,
experts, so but
generally it's thought of just like as how much disorder there is in a system, but like it's calculated like differently in chemistry and stuff. It's just
yeah.
I generally disorder, like, the more, I guess, heat, or like when an object gives off radiation and heat radiates away, that increases entropy.
Hmm.
I mean, yeah, that's how I can start to describe it.
Yeah,
Um,
I've seen
and
one.
then,
Yeah.
okay, and then I guess, I don't know, and then it's always increasing, so there's that.
Hmm. Yeah. So
But,
we got. How does I'm hearing like an echo going on. This is weird. um, so you say like the physics? I mean, the physics here are definitely like more well thought of. They're kept in mind compared to like movie physics. Because they try to keep the um. Did y'all watch Interstellar? Because he made that
no.
too. Okay, because there's a lot of like physics going on there, and
No,
it's
I
a
do know Interstellar is just, like, really good with that, but yeah.
yeah, because the way he likes to do it is he tries to take the physics and make that like use
Like a plot
use it
point.
to like yeah like a plot device or like
Or like an emotional point, even.
yeah
I know,
well
like in Interstellar.
yeah because like Interstellar has the like time dilation and he uses that as sort of like a consequence to actions and whatever and so it puts a lot of like good tension in places. I love Interstellar. So and then here it's kind of like they have all of these extra tidbits about like you can't breathe backwards air. I don't know how that goes with
Okay, so
physics,
that
but yeah.
that seems reasonable enough. Like, okay, so accepting that you can reverse the entropy and there's, like, no problems with that, which is, well, there are problems, but
Yeah,
you can
it's just
reverse
a
entropy.
bogus. It's just a bogus science. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a decent explanation for a movie, or like it's a really
Yeah.
good
What do
one,
you
to be
expect?
honest.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Can't estimate.
I guess so. Like so I don't know. I would think if the cells are taking in oxygen, then if, like, the entropy is reversed, the reaction, like, I guess, won't be able to happen because it would not be thermodynamically favorable.
Because
That
it's
would be
like
my assumption.
inversion is completely like based off of perspective. So like from your point of view, you're going like completely normal, but but like the environment. Well, actually, like literally, the environment is normal, but you're backwards, and so
But
it's
so
like
then
Yeah.
when you're like breathing, then is it? Let's say you don't have your mask. Isn't it just like the oxygen's basically getting pulled out of you because it's backwards, or is that not it?
but then like other oxygen appears inside of you because you and then well not appears but like it's the one that came before your own because you're breathing the air that came before versus the air in front of
Oh,
you.
Yeah.
So
I wonder if you could use the intuition thing to breathe.
the
Just like how
intuition.
picking intuition to pick up the gun.
Oh,
Intuition.
and like oh yeah,
oh,
the
I didn't even think about
instinct.
that.
Oh yeah.
But then wouldn't you just be like having to like blow out first and then like in because it's like breathe in, breathe out, but you have to breathe out, breathe in. But
I
that
mean
seems like a lot of focus for a human because
they
yeah,
don't
I'm not
seem
really
to
sure.
have to like care about it just because they're seeing it normally, but I don't even know. I'm almost
Yeah.
guaranteed that the only reason why they have masks is just to help identify, like, as an audience, who's going backwards and who's forwards.
Yeah.
They also have people literally walking backwards, so
Wait, time
masks.
out. Why did no one have a mask during the final scene, or did they?
Well, they did.
They did.
They were
Okay.
wearing. They had like they all had masks on, and then they had them hooked up to their own oxygen supply.
Yeah.
Well, like, why would the Ford? Did the Ford people have it?
The
Like,
forward, yeah, they
the
had
red group.
oxygen too.
I
I'm
guess
not
if
sure
they
why.
needed to go back,
I'm not sure
or
why. I
whatever
mean,
reason.
Oh, so then
Neil's the only one that switched the other way, but he was already
yeah.
inverted, and so he flipped around and didn't have to wear the mask or the need the oxygen.
Oh.
So maybe it was not an oxygen provider. Maybe it's literally just um I don't know. I don't know if that matters. The point is the inverted people have like their own supply. I'm pretty sure. Um, but also like okay, how do cars work when you're going backwards? Because the car in like the middle of the movie, like protag, protagonist is inverted, but he just jumps in a regular car and starts going. Did he put it in forward and then backed up, or did he have to, or like how does the combustion do like, does it work? Because
I think it's just like
he like starts it like a normal car.
Oh wait.
yeah. I was thinking that he'd have to put it in like reverse or something, or not, or actually I don't know.
Because I know
I
if
was-
you say if
It would
you
be
got
like-
into a, like say you're watching it as a forward person, and you're watching somebody drive backwards, pull the key out, the engine unstarts, and then
Yeah, yeah, because I think when he had his hand there, it was as if he was taking the key, like he was taking his hand away from where the key's supposed to go for the key to appear.
because
It was
the
really
car
weird.
just when he puts it in, the engine starts. But like, so or maybe the engine started and then he put the key in. Maybe it started by itself, but because or maybe like because wouldn't the engine never have it wouldn't have ever started for him if he wasn't like further in the past to turn it on in the first place. Because from an outsider's perspective, it was turning off. So
Maybe it's just the intuition thing.
it's the instinct.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah. So he
Maybe
turns it
it's-
off when he's done.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure they like use the instinct as an explanation for how to interact with inverted objects, which I don't know if that really ever comes up. Like we barely like interact with inverted objects. Like we only really do that in the beginning, and then it's just people going backward and doing things. Because then after that, it's just people that cause inverted events to happen. Whereas like in the beginning, he has like a bullet and he shoots it, or well, he's like they're like messing around with the bullet on the table, and they're like it's spinning it around or whatever. But that never really comes back.
Yeah. I don't know. Just
don't
if
know.
I had to say one thing, just like they should have inverted the plane.
Inverted the plane,
Yes.
the whole plane. They only have like 4 turnstiles, and they can only invert people-sized things.
Just
Okay.
yeah.
Or they could invert and then drive the plane. No, I don't even. And then
So
and so well, I'm hearing
wait, echo.
I'm hearing this. It's whack. God, I don't like hearing myself. This is like on Microsoft Teams when you're at home and learning like school, and then or like when I'm in the classroom and then someone turns their mic on, and then I turn my mic on and I hear it from the teacher's computer, and then it's like
Yeah.
bouncing back and forth, and it's really upsetting. It's just really annoying. Glory.
No, the best is the screen share inception. The teacher just shares their screen and it goes
What is that?
all the way down like the infinite screens.
Oh, that, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The
It's like
infinite screens.
when you share the like whatever
Screen
you're screen
sharing.
sharing.
Yeah.
If you share your entire screen, it shares the fact that you're sharing a screen, which shares the screen, which shares the screen, and it keeps going. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Let's move on to our. So like the physics is decent. It's like it's like thought of, and it's actually conceived as like ways to explain the mechanics of the plot. And so there's this other part when when Protag is talking to the Indian woman Priya, and so apparently, from what we understand, she's what is it? The future in the future, a scientist, some woman invented the algorithm which inverts the world, which essentially it's reversing how a turnstile normally inverts everything inside, it inverts everything outside, and so that's pretty bad, for some reason. And so she
For
mentioned,
some
and she
reason.
tries to, yeah, it sounds pretty bad. cool, cool. And so they try to she in order to like explain this scientist's like reasoning, she brings up Oppenheimer, and Ben, you have a thing to say about that.
Okay, so she's like, yeah, people thought, Oppenheimer thought that the nuclear explosion was going to, like, create a chain reaction that engulfs the entire atmosphere, and, like, they just apparently didn't care in that part. Well, no, they did care.
Care.
They had a whole
They
team
are safer.
basically studying that, and they found that, like, even with the most generous calculations to the fiery inferno engulfing atmosphere thing, they were nowhere near
How do you
the
calculate that? I don't know. What are the
I
chances
don't.
of the world ending? Let's do that
or
right now.
or how much energy would be required to end the world.
How much energy? Oh yeah. Does that mean how much? Wait, if you have like an
I
atomic
don't know the
bomb,
number.
and we know how much it's like destroyed, the world's a pretty big place. But I don't know.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Basically, the thing is, if you have enough energy, then it like creates the combustion reaction, which produces enough energy to create another combustion reaction, and then it just goes exploding the entire atmosphere. So
gotcha.
death.
Cool. Well, I think inversion is probably pretty bad, so it might not be that. So that's their wonderful little inconsistency. And so what is it? The scientist decides to like invert the algorithm and send it into the past, and she decides to kill herself, like anyone would do. I don't know. Sounds pretty bad.
Yeah. Instead of destroying the algorithm.
Instead of destroying it. But yeah, I don't know why you'd want to send it into the past and not just like destroy it. Because if she's the only one that knew how to do it, which is why she killed herself, why couldn't she destroy the algorithm? I don't know. She probably burned a lot of papers. But it is in like the algorithm is this like they describe it as a mathematical equation rendered into physical form, so it cannot be communicated or copied. So I'm quoting. Um,
Oh,
and so
yeah,
it's
that
like,
was a little interesting.
yeah. So the whole point of it being physical is so people can't just read it and tell it to people,
Yeah.
which is
That'd
like
be a slight problem.
smart, but it feels a little overdone. It's like, so
I mean,
why not
like, do
just
they?
burn the papers in the first place instead of like building a whole system in the first place? You know, like,
That's,
hey, I have this genius idea of how I'm gonna make a mathematical equation into a physical object. I'm gonna
Wait,
do
but did
all
they
this.
say? Did they say that she like wrote it down on paper? Because like, if you're thinking about the future, maybe she. I don't know. This is a very like far fetched thing. Maybe she used like a tablet of some sort, and it was stored somewhere, and she was really concerned. Actually,
But why
I
not
don't
just
know.
destroy it instead of go through all this work to send a
It's like
thing
the
into the
algorithm to
past?
end the world is in iCloud. Like, what are we gonna do?
Yeah. Or maybe when building it, it was just the only the physical thing for security reasons.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't
Yeah,
know what kind of. I mean, if
that's
you
fair.
can build it, you can destroy it. Maybe. I don't even know. What's it made of? It's made of like there is a
Is it
piece that is
plutonium or
made of
something?
plutonium. I don't think the
Yeah.
whole thing is plutonium. I think there's at least part pieces of it that's plutonium. So like I guess can you reform plutonium? I mean, people form them into like there's those like spheres like plutonium cores. So like can you just like melt it down and change it to
Yeah,
something
I don't really
else
use
or forge it?
plutonium on a daily
I
basis.
know. I don't know. I yeah, like I'm
Yeah,
definitely not
very.
qualified on this, but I'm just like it feels a bit extravagant, but oh well. Cuz like the plot of this movie is kind of surprisingly simple, but it just feels really complicated cuz we jump between like a billion different places. So, like we start in Tallinn in Ukraine, and then we jump to like this windmill farm out on the sea and the ocean in no man's land,
Yeah.
and we jump around here or there. We're in Ukraine kind of often, and then we're on a boat
or
in
Kiev.
Vietnam. That's at the end of the movie, and then I don't know where they're at the end. I think they're in Stalls 12 because it's an abandoned city, and that looks like where they're at.
Wasn't the airport in Oslo?
Oh yeah, that was in Oslo
Oslo.
too. And then yeah, they're in Oslo for quite a bit. They're in Oslo twice because they're at the airport twice,
Yeah.
and so, and all that.
Is it Mahir? Is there? Mahir? Is that was the character?
Mahir, I think
Mahir?
so. The Indian
Mahir.
dude, the cool Indian dude, and so
Was he Indian?
was he?
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe he's.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I don't like to assume.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is Mahir? I don't know. Maybe. Well,
Probably just.
I guess it doesn't matter as of the now. As
Yeah.
of the now. So, we have our wonderful theory that I am kind of like really into is Max, the kid, Maximilian, also Neil. Does he
Damn.
is he? This has been going
Okay.
around to the internet pretty often, and I
I
think it's the
don't-
most popular one.
Yeah, I'm not really sure if there's a way that we can,
There's
really
no- yeah.
say because like, listen, when they had the interaction, the Neil and the woman, Mrs. Sator, whatever, I don't know, wait, what's her first? Oh,
Catherine.
Kat. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, with Kat and Neil, right? Like Neil didn't show any sort of recognition of her that was like in any sense like
Yeah.
special, like that's my mother, or and Kat neither with like Neil, yeah, like it just didn't exist. So you're more likely to say maybe not, but it is but at the same time, Kat is probably, Neil is much older than Max at the time, right? And also, like, Neil's probably trained to not show his emotions, that obviously. So I guess it could really go either way in that sense.
Maybe if you say Maximilian backwards, it'll sound like Neil. Maximilian.
This is why we
Yeah.
should
Reacts, I don't know.
find a way to watch it backwards. That's
You
all
should
I'm saying.
find a way to watch it backwards.
I'm gonna do an
Yeah.
episode on that because I think that
It's
would
a
be
shame there wasn't that feature just
Karina,
attached.
what does a gun sound like when inverted?
Well, a gun usually, makes the pew sound, right? So it'd go weep backwards.
And
That is a
that's-
discovery we made watching it. So that is why it is
Well-
one of the words I would use to describe this movie because there's a lot of pew pew pew, but also weep weep weep. So I think it's important.
Hold up. I'm gonna record myself saying pew, and I'm gonna reverse it, and we'll see if it's right.
Mm-hmm.
Pew.
Say with more energy. Pew.
Okay, now I'm gonna reverse
Pew.
it. Oh gosh, you're right.
See?
Oh wait, there's an H. It's like a wheep.
Weep.
Weep weep. Close enough.
That's too funny. We need to reverse everything and see what it sounds like. Karina, what's your name backwards? Anorak.
Anorak sounds like a
Anorak.
spider.
Make it an
Anorak.
anorak. I'm sick narf. I used to say that in like middle school. I'd be like, sick narf is my name.
And then
backwards.
Ben is just Neb.
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 Hey, it works.
or Nimja Neb.
Nimja
Ninja
Neb.
Neb.
That sounds
Or-
better, actually.
or-
I think that one sounds
Or
cool.
Nimaj Neb.
Neb.
Yeah.
I feel like we've had this discussion before. I don't know why, but definitely. Yeah.
Cool.
But no, see, that's why because like they talk backwards at some points in the movie, which is why I think. Okay, this is again just my little
Yeah,
fan
because
theory.
Taylor
Is
talks backwards and like that
we
part.
must watch it backwards, or like get it on a tape and just reverse it and just somehow watch it like that, and maybe we'll uncover secrets about the movie. Who knows? Or it'll just lead to way more crazy theories that Christopher Nolan did not intend. But
that
we'll have
happens
some
all
fun with it.
The author said the curtains are blue. What the
Yeah.
author, the teacher says, the blue represents the sadness and despair.
Yeah.
What the author meant, the curtains were effing blue. It was yeah, it's a meme. I saw it on Instagram and
Yeah.
also YouTube. It was funny. And so, wait. So if the ending of this movie is probably the part that kind of lost me when I saw it first, because like so much was going on and a lot of it just wasn't clear, and so
Yeah.
I was like, what's the goal again? Is a bomb gonna go off? wait, why'd they let it go off? And so, after watching it much more times,
Much more.
the
Many
plan
more.
is an undisclosed number of times that I will not I will not say. um, 7. The goal is Sator and his Russian dudes want to bury, like, put the algorithm, the assembled algorithm, into a time capsule, and then blow up, like set up a bomb that buries it, and so that way the future can dig it up and use it to invert the world. Why they don't just dig it up, I do not know.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on
Are we
that.
missing something? Do we, like, is this right?
Yeah, Ben.
Okay.
Or are we
I
missing
I don't
something?
know. One thing I was thinking of is that, so that's a heavily guarded compound in theory, right? And I guess it's supposed to stay heavily guarded. So maybe by pulling
But it's
whatever
heavily guarded
switch.
whether they want to get the algorithm out or not. So I think
Yeah, I
it's
guess
like
maybe.
always heavily
I don't
guarded.
know.
Yeah. So maybe it's like, I don't actually, because they say Tenet was founded in the future. I don't know how far in the future we're talking, but it can't possibly be older than John David Washington, the protagonist. So I can't imagine it's like any older than like 650 years in the future. I can't
Yeah.
imagine, like, that's already him pushing like 80 or something. So
Yeah.
I can't imagine he founded it that late. Maybe it's like, oh, he woke up and founded it like tomorrow. Oh, hey. Oh, Neil's gonna
Let's.
go die now.
It's
I'm
not
gonna go and found a
Neil.
new organization.
No.
So yeah, spoiler alert.
Wait, question. When you reverse, do you reverse aging?
Do you? I don't think so. Because when you invert and go
Oh.
backwards, like, it's not time travel. You still have to live through the past to get to a date you want.
But like your entire body is inverted. Like the entropy is inverted
Yeah,
for
but
your body.
Yeah. So like, let's say.
I don't think it's undoing things that you're like doing. I think it's just, well, if
Well.
so, say the entropy, known as like air, like temperature, going from like hot to cold, and you start going from cold to hot, and then all of the like chaos becomes like, it goes backwards and into order. I don't know how that works inside a human system, but um or even, I don't even know how
Maximilian
it works with
becomes the
objects.
child.
Yeah.
Or,
So
or Neil becomes the child.
he becomes the child.
Well.
I don't
Yeah,
think
that
that's
makes
how
no
it
sense.
works. I think it's a lot simpler, but
No, because then you'd be going with the idea that you're going backwards in time. So when you're breathing, it's like you're unbreathing. When you're like,
that's
you'd have to
to an
say like you're.
outsider observing
Yeah.
an
Or like you're.
inverted person.
Let's say like if we and also when you get inverted, I mean, you don't walk backwards for like years and years.
You're
I don't think you do.
It's just
You
people see
know.
you walking backwards.
Yeah.
Like, you're not,
Exactly.
no one is literally walking backwards. It's just people outside are
Yeah.
seeing that happen.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Unless you're making the movie, then
Well, I
like
mean,
you see
literally.
people
That's
walking
good. That's
backwards.
good.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that's fair. That's fair. You're
it's
right.
literally and not, like, yes and no. It is super.
Yeah. No. Okay. But if you're going further into the past, then would you like yourself like your development is like
I
your
don't think so.
undeveloping.
I don't think it
So, like,
reverses your internal system. I think it literally just, you start going forward, you make a pit stop, and you flip around and you go backward.
it's a very
Okay.
big question with like biology, and I just don't know how to answer this.
Because
Like
they
how
say when they found the inverted material, like that one scientist woman at the beginning, she says like, bullet, it's a simple machine, lead bullet, brass casing, gunpowder, and whatever. If they can invert that, there's no reason they can't just invert and pretty much anything or whatever. And then she's all like, so it may have been, oh, wait. Protag, John David Washington, says like, hey, these bullets look super familiar, and then she's like, yeah, they could have been made today and inverted years from now. So maybe
Oh,
like they got inverted and then they got made, and then the future picks them up, inverts them, and then they send them backwards, and then they pass up their own, like, quote unquote birthday. So, or maybe they have that.
Well, you still exist in that time period. If you're going backwards, like, you know, you're not supposed to come in like close contact with
Yeah, 'cause
yourself.
you would annihilate yourself.
Exactly, because I think. Yeah, no. Yeah, I think I agree, Francis. I don't think you would anti-age because you still exist within that time period as yourself growing, right? Like, I don't know.
I don't think that's how it works. I
have
think
no
we're
clue.
digging too deep into
Yeah,
that. But also,
We're asking questions that we just
Yeah.
can't answer.
I
Christopher
feel like
Nolan would
annihilation.
just walk in, face palming, and be like, "Yo, it's not that hard."
We should have had like Mr. Kozit on this
Yeah,
podcast.
Mr. Johnson. Yo, hey, go
Mr.
grab him and have him
Johnson.
explain our physics away. He's like, hey, is
Yeah.
this right? He's like, no, but it
You'd be
was
like, just,
close.
God, no.
No, it was not even close, but it's better than Hollywood. So, all that. So like when you like invert and you got those, like, they say we use these suits, these protective suits and those barriers and the glass and whatever to separate the forwards and backwards, because if you touch yourself you annihilate. So like what if you didn't have that glass? What if you went inverted and then went right and touched yourself? Therefore you annihilate yourself before you can even go to invert in the first place. So
You go boom.
grandfather paradox. So,
Maybe not.
because like
Well,
when they present it in the movie almost like a setup, like it's gonna happen later, and it never does, because like it's an unanswerable question.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay,
Someone
why
just
did you tell
explodes
me?
in the middle of the movie. But
That'd be a little concerning.
Yeah. So like, wait, at what point did protagonist figure out he was fighting himself? Because like
I
he
think-
puts on the suit that suspiciously looks a lot like the dude that he fought earlier wearing the same suit. So
You know,
when
I
did
think he realizes remember when they were about to leave and like go into like their mode of transportation, cargo, whatever they were in, and like he starts bleeding, his arm starts hurting, and then it starts bleeding,
Oh, yeah.
and then Neil's like, your
Yeah,
arm's
it
bleeding,
starts
right? Because
reverse bleeding.
and he remembers like, oh, you know, because I stabbed myself maybe earlier. I think like, or that's like when he starts realizing, like, oh, I'm gonna go fight myself, because remember he gets unstabbed.
Yeah,
That whole odd situation. So I would think it'd be around then.
maybe. I don't know. I kind of have a feeling he doesn't really notice until right when he gets blown underneath and then gets like pinned underneath himself.
Oh,
I don't know.
yeah,
I
at
have a
that point
feeling.
it's pretty
but-
obvious. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
at that point it's obvious. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
But
that
maybe
point
he
it's
started
obvious.
catching on at that point. I don't know.
Maybe. I wouldn't know. He's just like, yeah. And so, what is it? Oh, even like when you're in that like Freeport, that little like turnstile they have there. I was looking at it. They also have like the blue and red arrows on the floor. I
Mhm.
didn't notice that. It was cool. Little detail. So I guess we're hitting 40 minutes, so I guess we could talk about any kind of like extra things, and then we can start wrapping it up.
Oh,
As
the
of now.
fentanyl.
Fentanyl, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Fentanyl.
So back to like the beginning of the movie, where we got the
The Arepo.
Arepa. Yeah, Arepo's the dude who doesn't walk anymore. So, yeah. So Arepo Arepo backwards is opera, and so we're at an opera at the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, and so from I guess like our perspective, like that was kind of based on a real event that happened. So the opera house was in Kiev, Ukraine, right?
Yeah.
I was like Kiev or Kiev, I don't know. Well, anyways, but
Hopefully
in
inspired.
2002 there was a hostage, a theater hostage situation at I don't know if it was an opera house or it was like a culture center in Moscow, and there was like, I think it was some musical or something, and it was really popular, and then I think it was some sort of terrorist attack,
Mhm.
and they took hostages, and so, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, if Ben, I don't know if you know, because I read a history article on it, and that's my source. I believe the Russian government used some sort of like what is it like opioid gas that was like had fentanyl or and then it had like I think it's like a drug called carfentanil or something that's like extremely potent and it actually killed people like it did hurt people.
Yeah, there was only a 20-ish fatality rate among the hostages.
Yeah. Only.
So yeah.
20%.
It was a bit
How
heavy-handed.
many hostages we talking about? A whole
Well, I
theater.
mean,
I want to say it was like 111.
it said I think it was like a sold-out musical or something, so it was actually a very popular event. And like the excuse of the Russian government is that there was no other way they could have taken people, you know, out safely unless they, I guess, drugged everyone and got rid of the people that were holding, like the terrorists, and then they could keep the hostages safe, like from getting shot.
Yes, no.
And stuff like
The
that.
definition of we don't negotiate with terrorists.
Wasn't there some debate over whether that was like ethical or whatever to actually
Yeah,
use?
Oh, definitely.
There was a totally
Yeah,
debate
100%, yeah.
whether you should put your hostages to sleep and do that.
With an
Is it
extremely
still-
dangerous substance, yeah.
I'm assuming it's still it might have been used today. I mean, assuming there was a terrorist attack, would they
I
do
feel
it
like
again?
if
Like,
the
would they do
United
it?
States did something like that,
No,
that
no,
would
the
be
United
Oh,
States
like
would
no.
never.
Like it's not. They're not because it would just be a whole debate forever and ever
Yeah.
and yeah.
I-
no.
If
I
the
wanna
United
say
States
the
had a
deaths were from
report
a-
that prioritizes art over employees, I think that would quite.
Yeah.
I think that would
Klaus-
quite get shut down.
Klaus released that we don't have priorities. Other methods.
Our clients use us because we have no priorities above the
It's like,
property.
all right, my guy.
This Norwegian man. Yeah, so.
That was
but it is
definitely interesting.
but it is in Ukraine, so who knows? Who knows about the ethical dilemma of that?
Yeah, like that stuff definitely is not as widely debated in
well.
those government type situations.
Well.
So yeah.
Yeah, so how about let's give our ranking of the movie. Let's give it something out of 10.
Oh,
No. And then we could
I don't
like
know. What do you guys
explain
go
our-
first?
I mean,
I'm not
I
sure.
will give it a TENET out of a TENET. So I am absolutely biased. I don't think, and I'm not ranking it really because I think the movie's perfect. I think it legitimately has like an exposition problem where it tells you information in kind of an unclear way, of where it tends to
Yeah.
like ramble off info to you, and I'll be like, wait, what? And then the next thing we know, we're already at the scene doing whatever we have with the info.
Yeah,
'Cause-
that's why I
yeah.
think I'm gonna give it, and don't attack me, an 8 out of 10 because I think it was a very like intelligently made movie, and I really appreciate those types of movies and series where it's not stupid. Like it's like they use it's very much like
It
physics
makes me feel
and
dumb. So-
yeah. And, okay, well, okay. I mean yes, but but I feel like they could have done better. Maybe explain even just like well first off we talked about this earlier in the podcast like talking like we could barely hear them without closed captioning so not only
Yeah,
was
that's a
that an
sound
issue of
design
us trying to understand what was going on in the movie like the actual audio issues but also just the amount of information that we were being given about like physics theory and whatnot that we didn't necessarily understand so if there was a way to maybe explain it more simply or explain it better or explain at a different point in the movie, I don't know, like just clarify a little bit more. Maybe that would have seemed like redundant for the writers or who like knew what was going on, but for the audience members themselves, it probably could have been a bit more helpful, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I feel like that could have been a little bit better. Yeah, that's why I'm gonna give that an 8.
Yeah, my 10 is purely just because it's just such a bonkers movie that I've
Yeah.
just like completely handed over my soul to it. So
Yeah, you've watched it. Wait, Francis, how many times have you watched it?
7.
Okay, so okay.
I think you should watch it 10 times.
I mean, I've been watching particular scenes over and over. Like I turned on, just to like understand some things. I watched some
Yeah.
parts over and over. But yeah,
Wait, you
I
didn't
will
watch the
say
battle extra times though?
I haven't watched the battle multiple times. I watched the like car chase multiple times, and I watched the part like the conversation between Kat and protagonist, like their first
Yeah.
like their dinner conversation. And
Do you
so
think there'll be a sequel?
I kind of hope there isn't because I mean, I think this has a lot of potential to have a
Yeah.
sequel, but I don't really know where they would go after this, other than maybe
Yeah.
say like, oh, this is gonna be protagonist's journey starting Tenet and meeting Neil for the actual first time,
Yeah.
and then them trying to figure out. I think it would end. I think it honestly might be them doing this movie again, but backwards and from a different perspective.
Yeah,
Like it
yeah.
could be
Oh my
them
gosh.
building up to the events of this movie.
What if it was like a movie where is it a sequel or is it a prequel? You
Oh,
know?
that would actually be really cool. Like you could
Yeah.
watch either one first and it wouldn't matter.
Exactly. Yeah. And then I
Okay,
think
that
and
might be
that's
really
and
yeah.
I feel like there in that movie we I would hope if they did that we could maybe get a little bit more clarity on the I don't know, the theory and the like how everything is working and the reason they
Like talk
dealt with
about
the
the
bomb the
future
way that they
more.
did. If
Yeah.
Neil really is Max, that's where those questions would be answered, maybe, or at least I would hope so.
Yeah, and spill out any other random plot twists that we got.
Yeah, and maybe we'll just leave more confused after second movie. Who
It
knows?
might
Yeah.
just
But
convolute it even more. What would it be called?
yes,
Just Tenet backwards?
yeah,
Or
like
Tenet
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 again.
2?
Or you
Tenet
just,
two,
11 net
like
11
Twennet,
even
Twennet. No, that's not right.
two
or just the
two
title would be
nits.
like upside down.
But they do that though.
Oh,
Like
Or no,
they
they do
flip
it
the
like
T and
half inverted, but I mean just the entire thing
have you
upside
seen the
down.
posters though? Like they flip the T upside down on the end. Like they
oh.
do a regular T, regular E, regular N, and then the second E is backwards, and then the T is upside down.
Maybe maybe it would be like Tenet, and then like either two or -1
Tenet negative.
or zero. Never mind. Zero.
Maybe they just use, they could call it
Negative
race
Tenet.
car. They can
Negative
call it
Tenet.
Taco Cat.
What?
They can call
No,
it
Yes,
race
God
car
Taco
because you
Cat.
can spell them backwards.
Taco cat.
Ta- oh, okay,
Exploding
okay.
kittens.
Cat.
Exploding
Taco
kittens.
Cat.
No, we just see oh my gosh, what if they had a scene that was cut out with it was Neil
Playing
and the
exploding
protagonist
kittens.
playing exploding kittens.
Like I got a taco cat, and I'm like, whoa, you can spell that backwards. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And then,
It's
but
like-
but the deck of cards is inverted, and so it's playing backwards. And they're like, huh? How did I
Oh.
get how did I get an exploding kitten but not die? I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
well, because you did an inverse explosion, so you actually got really cold. So
Please, that would be so funny. That
you
would
got
be-
ice. The ice starts forming on the cards. That'd be great. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I will say, and like as part of your 8 out of 10 ranking, like I will say probably the most engaging scenes, like that we understand the best, is probably when Kat and protagonist are talking for the first time because
Yeah.
she like explains her situation, and then we see like cuts to when they're on the yacht on their boat,
Yeah.
and I do think that's probably a really good scene because it helps to emotionally invest you by showing over just telling you.
Yeah, if
And
we
then,
didn't
yeah.
have the like, I don't even know if this is considered a subplot, but like with Andre and with Kat, like if we didn't have that whole part, people would just be 100% lost. Like you
Yeah.
kind of need that
It's to
storyline
help like
there.
track the emotional like
Exactly.
line in this film, yeah. And
Yeah.
so I do think like I will say it really helps to pay off like when she goes back to the yacht and
Yeah.
like also like okay, there's something really cool about this is that they managed to keep like the villain at the end of the movie because Sador like disappears in the middle and they're like, oh, we don't know where he went, and it's like, oh, he probably went to Vietnam because that makes sense, and then
Mhm.
they go back and like, oh, that is the same, like that's the same villain that we pick up with the same version of the villain, like not a past version or anything, which is
Mhm.
also a problem I have with Avengers, where we just get like a past Thanos that like doesn't. Like,
Okay.
I don't even know who you are. But that's I'm
Thanos.
sorry.
I feel like that was kind of necessary though, because like he was almost too sympathetic
No,
after
yeah,
Infinity
I
War.
completely get that. Like, he has no reason to fight at the beginning of the movie, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't. I was like not sitting well with the fact that he says, "I don't even know who you are," whereas Sator, like, Cat unbuttons her shirt, and then you see the gunshot ruined, and he's like, "No!" and then
Yeah.
that. So it's like I think that was really like probably really well done.
Yeah. Oh,
And like
definitely.
how she is the person that dives off the boat, which in turn inspires herself to do this all in the beginning in the first place. I think that's pretty good. I think it's
It's the
pretty good.
paradox
It's
of
the paradox.
yes.
Where did it
Paradox.
originate? Oh my. Where did the idea originate? And um I think the part when they like invert the first time, like when Sador is like has his gun at like he shoots Cat, and then the protagonist is all like he's like trying to get out of him where he put the algorithm piece, and like so you watch the like he's like speaking backwards, and we watch it like that, and then we see a normal satyr just walk up and hit protagonist in the head, and then he goes back and inverts, and then the we see the same scene but from the backwards perspective, and
Yeah.
I think that's probably the other best part, like in terms of like exposition, because it's not like just telling you how it works. It's just like, yo, this is how it works from that perspective or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that was pretty cool. And so, but yeah, most of the exposition tends to get really lost because there's all this
Yeah.
stuff about the painting, and then there's stuff about a repo, and then there's this like the plutonium 241, and then he found it. He was checking this one in Tala, and it shows up at an upper house, but then it gets taken by the CIA, and then he loses it, and then you're like, okay, and then it shows up here, whatever. And I'm like, I did not even notice that they were the same piece. I thought it was another algorithm piece, and then I was like, oh, because of that dialogue, it was like, oh, it's the same one. Okay,
Yeah.
Ben, let's get to your rating. Let's
Oh
do
yeah.
that.
Um, I'd say 9 out of 10.
Awesome,
No.
my man,
Oops.
my man. All
No,
right.
just yeah, no, I'd agree with the one thing. It's an experience, definitely.
Yeah.
Because the scientist woman straight up comes out and tells the audience, "Don't try to understand it, just feel it." I'm like, "Oh
Yeah.
boy, I felt it, yo, I felt
Yeah.
it." So,
Maybe that's the attempted warning to the audience members. Like, don't try to understand it. Like, just watch the movie. But like here we are trying to debate physics with very minimal physics knowledge.
I know, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, because I
We
feel
did
like
not
this
listen to
is one of
scientists.
those movies that like demands to be watched a billion times.
Yeah.
Because,
No,
like,
it
I don't know.
definitely is an experience. I agree.
I
Yeah.
know, yeah. But then again, like, we all saw it in a theater, and so it definitely we definitely got a lot more of an experience than like watching it on a personal screen, unless someone has a home theater.
Yeah.
So then I'll have to test out your sound. So we'll see. I know you have that sound bar. I think. Do you have a sound bar? Like it's
um,
in your basement, or is it?
I think it's just the TV.
Is it just TV? Yeah, I mean the TV
Uh,
speaker's fine, but
yeah, it's good
it's
speaker.
not that IMAX speaker that blows your head off. So, but yeah, yeah. I mean, most of the reviews have been kind of not kind to this movie.
Oh really?
Mostly,
I
I
think.
think it's mostly because like they wanted to try and understand it the first
Yeah.
time. But
Yeah.
yeah, because okay, first of all, disclaimer: Rotten Tomatoes has a lot of reasons for why it does not tend to be accurate, but it has a 70%, I believe, as of now. Tenet Rotten
Oh
Tomatoes.
wow.
It has a
Yeah.
70, or maybe it's a 60. It's a Yeah, it's a 70. It's a 70 on Critic Store, 76 on Audience Store. But disclaimer: if y'all don't know how Rotten Tomatoes works, that doesn't mean like the score doesn't mean like you were 70% happy with this movie or it was 70% a good movie and the 30% was trash. It basically boils down critics to like 70% of them give either thumbs up or thumbs down. Like they can give like, oh, it was an 8 out of 10 or it was like a 4 out of 10, and those will immediately go to it's a thumbs up and a thumbs down. So like
Also,
medium reviews, like if it's like a 5 out of 10, it'll probably go to a thumbs down. And so it'll automatically get biased toward like a certain thing. It basically
Yeah.
just it tends to skew things. Like we're seeing that with Wonder Woman right now. It went from like an 83 and dropped, like it plummeted to like a 60 something. And so that was weird, and then whatever. So
yeah, there's like no waiting.
yeah, and I talked to um there was some I have a friend who also saw it and he was like, I didn't feel too much about it, but he also saw it in a theater, so I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just maybe my positivity over this movie is just completely spilling over into you guys. So I don't know. Maybe it's also because I was just like craving for new films, and so I got this one because we only really have like 3 new movies. 2 of them came out like on Christmas, and so if y'all are gonna watch Soul, we could talk about that too. I love Soul.
I
It's awesome.
actually might tonight because I got
Do
Disney
it,
Plus.
do it,
Yeah.
do it, do it. It's great. Soul is great, and Wonder Woman 84 is fine. I wouldn't say it's bad,
Oh.
but a lot of people are saying it's bad, but I don't think it's bad. You can
Unfortunate.
watch it too. I don't think it's a waste of your time though. Also, like weird thing.
Yeah, I
Andre,
mentioned this.
wait,
Yeah.
no, Sador is played by what's his name? Kenneth Branagh, who also plays.
Gilderoy Lockhart from Harry Potter.
Specifically the Chamber of
so
Secrets.
we have him and Robert Pattinson, right? So like
Yeah.
Harry Potter,
Just Harry Potter confirmed.
yeah, actors, and so I think that's just a really cool thing. Definitely.
Yeah, and also like Priya is a famous Indian actress and whatever, and
Yeah.
John David Washington's the son of Denzel Washington, so there's like a whole bunch of connections going everywhere.
Oh well, and then Kat, who the actress played, what was it in?
She's what's her name? Elizabeth Debicki. She plays the Golden Lady
Yep.
in Guardians 2, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Which is pretty awesome.
I know. I like didn't even notice until I was like, oh
Yeah.
wait, that makes a lot of sense.
No, she was always so on point with her outfits. I loved her. You know, I really felt bad about the whole domestic violence situation, but she was definitely deserved better, and I'm really happy.
Oh, Anka.
Yeah, no, she was great. Loved her.
Tenet out of Tenet.
10 out of 10. No, okay, but like the female, like the actresses, like although there were a few, like basically Priya and Kat, mostly they were. I think they did really good jobs. I also love Mahir. Neil, loved him. Basically, yeah, everyone was great. Everyone was great. Great actor.
I like how you have like 2 of your favorite accents in the same room.
Exactly.
The Russian
Exactly.
accent
What was Andre and Kat
and the
talking
British
at my 2 favorite accents? Literally, that was the best.
Wait,
Except
so what
again,
accent does Max have? The kid.
that's a really good.
Does he have?
Well, where does he go to school?
He
Like,
goes
what-
to school in England, I'm pretty sure. Does he? Well,
Was
he
it
talks.
England or were they in Sweden? No, they're in England, right?
Are they? Wait, because where's the Freeport at? Because
Not
that's in
sure.
Oslo. Are they close by the Freeport? I don't.
Because he might go to school in Sweden, so I guess he has.
Because I know he has. He has like, when he talks like once, and he's like, "Oh, are you going to go to Pompeii?
But
We're gonna see
Neil-
lava."
Oh yeah, that's right. You're right.
Yeah.
And Neil has a British accent. Just saying. Just saying.
Whoa.
Oh.
Tenet mind unlocked. Tenet comprehension unlocked.
Exactly.
So, oh yeah, little fun tidbit. You know the names Sator, Opera, Arepo, and Rodas, and Tenet? So like, Sator backwards is Rodas, which is the name of his company, and Arepo backwards is Opera, which is like where they were at the beginning. of the movie. I don't know if those are connected. And TENET backwards is and so, and those words, they come from the Sator Square, which is first discovered in, it was first uncovered in Pompeii, which is where they give a little mention. And so, is lava still active on that volcano? Because he's like, we're gonna see lava, and I'm like, is Vesuvius still active?
Yeah, it's just this lava just flowing through the city.
Yes, it's like Venice but better.
Oh, so I think
It's
okay. So
Mustafar.
according to my very quick Google search, it seems that that it is still active, and
Whoa.
but I'm not really sure.
It'll be the
You
first
know.
disaster of 2021.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
Oh well, who knows? So, and then there's so the Tenet Square, like the Satyr Square. It's in Pompeii. It was originally believed to be a charm meant to protect against fire. So I hope they get their money back. So oh well. Oh well. Yeah. So. All right, we gave our reviews, we gave our wonderful thoughts, we tried to understand it, but we also
Really
quite
did.
felt it. Cat's great. All the actors they quite did their job. They
definitely did their
and many
job.
of them quite exceeded. Like Mahir. So
Oh my god, 10 out of 10 acting, love him. Let's not. Okay, I'm sorry. Not to extend this, but the vegetarian options.
Oh yeah, yeah.
so they went order.
Best scene. Can't fight me on this.
Hey, is everyone on this plane vegetarian? Because all I got here is vegetarian. See,
But I don't know. Is this all
does that look like
vegetarian?
meat to you?
Knocks him out.
I would just watch like a whole sitcom of Mahir trying to explain vegetarian food to everyone.
Exactly. No, Mahir definitely should have some sort of spin-off. I don't know. Or if there is a sequel / prequel,
Mahir,
definitely want to see
Tenet
Mahir.
operative.
I definitely want to see Mahir back. Oh my gosh.
could
Hold
watch
on.
it.
So we know that Neil was recruited by the protagonist. Was Mahir also recruited by the protagonist?
I hope so, because Neil brings in Mahir
Okay.
because he knows him and because he's
That's
part
fair,
of
yeah.
Tenet, and maybe he lives in a Twilight world. Maybe he's part of that group. I don't even know. So
I'm not sure. Anyways.
yeah. Also, like, protagonist, he he gets on the phone at one point, and then he calls somebody, and then he says, "Oh, we live in a Twilight world," and so, but that's like his CIA like code,
Yeah.
and so it's like, is he still? So he's like calls up the CIA, and then they're like, "Whoa, aren't you dead? I thought you were dead. Your whole team got caught and killed or whatever." And so I don't know, but maybe it got assimilated to 10. I don't even know.
Interesting.
Also, Sador knows the code word, so does just like everyone know? It's
just common knowledge.
It's
Oh
just
wait, wasn't
common
it the
knowledge.
theory? Well, Francis, were you saying that there was a theory that he was actually also part of the Tenet
Or
operation?
yeah, or
something?
no, not that he was working with Tenet, but that he was like, like he didn't know it, but he was like working for the protagonist. Like maybe he's doing
Oh.
I think that might mean he's either like doing a Palpatine and is working both sides, so that way he can eventually like win and get the algorithm out. Or maybe it's just like Sator doesn't know it, but the future that he's been talking to was actually the protagonist. And not the future
Interesting.
that wants the algorithm.
Oh.
So maybe that would just I don't. So then that might explain how he knows the code word, but also I
Yeah.
think a lot of people know the code word because he did get
Yeah.
that. He did get that CIA like suicide pill at the end of the movie, and so who knows where that came from? I took it from a CIA operative. Who knows who that was? Maybe it doesn't matter. I don't know. Well, this movie begins and ends with someone trying to kill themselves, and they both fail because on one side the pill is fake. Why didn't he give him a fake pill? What if he's like, oh, if I take this pill, the world ends? He's like, but don't take it yet. Or just be like, ha, Tenet switched out all the pills and they're all fake.
Is the underlying message
But,
of this
like-
film just like don't take pills?
No,
Like,
if you try and kill yourself, you'll get to become part of Tenet.
No, I just don't think that that's the message, Francis.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, the test, quote unquote, is if you don't betray your friends, you get to live or whatever. We'll bring you,
Seems
get you out of
legit.
Ukraine, and we'll put your teeth back in your mouth. And we'll
Nice.
make sure to keep the balls out of the slit in your throat and make sure that doesn't happen.
I don't think that
No.
one's technically guaranteed, though.
Yeah.
I don't think they can
Yeah, the
help with that.
psychopath Russian trying to
Yeah.
nihilist psychopath Russian.
Yeah.
So
Love it,
yeah,
yeah.
that's fun. So all right, that about wraps it up. So, wow, we're still an hour under our usual runtime. My last 2 episodes have been 2 hours.
Interesting.
So look at us.
Oh my god.
We're doing fine. So that about wraps it up. We gave our reviews. We talked more. We got our wonderful thoughts out. Any
Yeah.
last words?
Neil. That's all.
All right. Yep.
No.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Karina. It's been
Yeah.
It's been a wonderful hour.
Yes.
All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.